Okay, Pastor, thank you so much for taking your time to talk to us.
My pleasure. Yeah.
And I see from conversations that we had before that you're very passionate about this. Can you share with people your experience from Ryanair
Yeah.
to Japan?
I go back long before Ryanair. I didn't go to Ryanair. I worked 20 odd years in Aer Lingus. That was where.
That's where always it all starts.
Yes, as it does for so many Irish people, because the national airline, the national anything, becomes a top employer. But I had the opportunity then to move, and I went into the ferries business, passenger ferries, cars and passengers. At that time, the more people travelled by ferry than travelled by air. But I could see how we could transform certain aspects of that. I wasn't in it, 5 years? And various people from Ryanair came to me and said, look, you have the airline background and experience. Now you have the ferries and the shipping business behind you. Now we're going to do a new Ryanair. Would you take this on? So I said, okay, I'll do it as a chairman. And we did it a couple of years, and I just only stayed something like five years involved in the business, and then retired and went to Switzerland, and partly to take it easy and do things, but equally again, I was hired by IATA this time. So I worked in IATA, and that was another great experience, and that followed up with that with consultancy services, aviation performance consultants. I set it up in Switzerland because it, obviously kept association with IATA, and it was a great source of business. But it brought me to travel all over the world. So it's so more limiting if you're just operating out of Ireland. But from that place, and with an association with IATA, I did a lot of work down in Africa and South America and in Middle East. So, great time. I enjoyed it immensely. I kept it up.
And we're here at future travel experience.
Yeah.
How do you see this future experience that travelers will be able to have in the coming years?
Yeah. I think it's exactly the same thing. It'll still be the same, right? Because people have learned a lot from the past couple of years. So cost management is a key area. There's nobody going to mess around with their costs. In fact, they still want to control their costs. But the biggest thing of all is digital. Now, we know we have the environment, we have sustainability, we have all the things that have to be dealt with. That's still not top of the list in the airlines today. But it will be, it has to be. It's certainly environment related. It's going to be an issue now. But you see the stupid remarks that are coming, said, let's ban flying, let's stop flying in particular areas. And this morning's news here was saying they're going to put a ban on domestic flights in Ireland. Why would you? It's so small and insignificant, and wouldn't have much consumption of green fossil fuel or anything else like that. Certainly not, of course. But saying buses and trains can take over that. But they're the extreme people that on that side that want green, everything to be green, and extend our lives and our futures. Could be, maybe, and it's all being done. Maybe not as fast as people would like, but it's happening. Yeah.
And digital is what will make the difference. But we see that many airlines still struggle with this evolution and adoption of technology.
Yeah.
What can be done to create this culture that people are ready to risk and innovate?
Survival. If you don't do it and match up with competitors, you're not going to be in business. That's it. And that means more investment, whether it's from investing owners or from governments. They're going to have to do that to keep this operation going, but can't do everything. But that I see is one of the critical factors, because this digital transformation is expensive. It really is. And it has to be met You need to earn revenue from what you're doing to make it all worthwhile. That's what I yeah.
And all your experiences, can you give us a specific example of something that you implemented and you saw it work well?
Well, the low-cost concept was really, Ryanair was probably the leading airline in that area. It wasn't actually the start of airlines, but we did have, can't remember that, was it Virgin? They came into the game. EasyJet came into the game, so they were starting off, but there was nobody else in Europe starting until the next 2 or 3 years. And now we get the Wizz Airs and all the other smaller carriers in Germany and various other places. They're coming into the market and they're playing a role to play, yeah.
And finally, do you have a message to an airline that it's still struggling with this digital adoption?
Get to it. You have to do it. It's no choice, really. Get some expertise to do it so they can do it right from the start. And don't just take amateurs or not novices into the game. It's not computer bods we need, but people with open minds, people that are ready to think about different ways of doing things and transforming their business with that knowledge and experience. That's
Thank you very much, Peter.
my pleasure. What?
So actually, what I noticed today, if I go back to the morning, I wasn't really surprised, but it was an interesting summary, the research about the future traveler. Did you listen to that one?
I did, and I thought of you at the time it was on, because this is exactly the business you were trying to get into, trying to make a digital representation
Yeah,
of all the things that they need and want.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it confirmed this effortless
Correct. Yeah.
people are looking for.
Yeah.
The other thing I found interesting as part of this, it was this very clearly this effortless for everything, this end-to-end thinking, but also to be able to use, to be able to easily find the right products and services.
Yeah.
For which AI could be
Yeah.
useful.
And a lot of those products are going to be very expensive in the sense that you have the equipment to do it, you have to do recording, you've got so many things to do. And many airlines don't have that capability. So that's going to be a dilemma. But they've been turning to people like your organization can you do it for them? And obviously get paid for it. That might be the right way to approach it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, there's so much now involved in the passenger journey. From the time of the booking all through the whole process. And having all that capability of being able to talk to it by having is the goal you want to have. But the functionality is all over the airline. And it's hard to find it. If you can set up a data manager, but it can only accumulate so much. You won't have everything. You won't have it for everybody. So makes it.
Yeah. And also this thing of this super app thinking, this thinking of more integrated, more holistic thinking, actually, which makes a lot of sense from the customer perspective and what they see everywhere. And I really like this example of the robot at the airport who could just actually take care of the baggage.
Right.
Where many people really have the problems. So I've always been talking about you get a porter service at the station, but at the airports you don't find it. And to do this with a robot is quite a nice idea.
Yeah. It may be, it'll all work, of course, if you can make it work. But if you do it at Frankfurt Airport, the hundreds of thousands that are going there all the time, makes it difficult to give to everybody and give the possibility to everybody.
Yeah. And
But that's the effort. Try and do it.
Yeah, I think there are, it is possible. It's just about being determined to do it. And the
Chairman.
technology is there, and if I just look at the capabilities, what we can already do to train us. Because the other thing is, when we heard those presentations about move to offer order, complete transformation, is of course a very lengthy process. And Lufthansa now declares they want to do it by 2028.
Right.
But it is still another 5 years. So by this time, customers will have changed even more. And if you are not there in this environment and offer the right experiences, you will lose out completely.
And I was interested in their comments about the fact that they're working in the IATA. They have 8 airlines, I think, today,
Yes.
which they're trying to do a common approach, which is obviously would help to reduce the cost per carrier, so per passenger, by getting that. That means a lot of agreements are going to have to be reached, and some people will have different things, so you've got to be careful. And just assume that Lufthansa is doing with the carriers it works with, and that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
We wait to see, but I mean, if you go back to the early days in the airline industry, just even getting people to come together for fares conference to set interline fares was so difficult. And this is a lot more to be managed now this way.
What did you find back, if you think about your days, back to chairman of Ryanair launching all of this focus on ancillaries and direct sales? Now finally, everyone has realized this. And then, of course, your experience in Japan, if you bring all of this together and you look at where we are now and what you've heard today, what do you think?
Yeah, well, you can see that it's all being consolidated, but there's no question that Japan is way behind what's going on in Europe. Absolutely, way behind it. And passenger comforts and standards are first and foremost. But talking is more critical than using the computer. So it's a different environment. Will it convert? Of course it will in time, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm going back in time now. Once the situation in China, in Shenzhen, I was there with a couple of other people. We were met and greeted by the mayor and various other people, and they wanted to show off what they had and what they had in capability. And in the technology area, they brought us down to see the railway station, and they had, long before airlines had it, an automated ticketing machine. So you just put in the data and got your ticket automatically, and you paid with a card. And I said, wow, if we could have that in Europe, it would make a tremendous difference. And I set up meetings, and they have done it to a large degree in airlines. Of course, they've adopted it, but it's not very far. But that's how change is taking place. That's in about period 20 years. It's a radical change for them. China or Japan has this other idea of finding closeness between airlines by buying up small shares on different airlines and having them so they operate them in different fashion. They have one, only one was a subsidiary, that was Manila, but all the other airlines in domestic Japan were, some percentage of them was owned by ANA, and when they were profitable they got some money from it. But the whole purpose was really to block competition, so they wouldn't go into the low-cost airline or do something new and different, so they had to work with the ANA standards. Would that work today? It's still there, they haven't changed. But COVID might have been the factor that has meant they haven't progressed. So we'll see.
At BranchSpace, we are a passionate team with deep cross-functional experience in airline and travel tech, travel retail, and end-to-end customer experience. We offer transform consulting services and TripLake, our best-in-class digital commerce platform. With TripLake, we deploy the latest technology and retail thinking and make it easy for you to drive personalized end-to-end experiences for your customers and meet your revenue goals. We are an IATA strategic partner for digital innovation to drive together the future of travel. We have been a long-term trusted partner for LH Group, IAG, Aegean, TAP, Air Malta and more. Visit branchspace.com to learn how we turn the current challenges airlines are facing in the digital world into opportunities.